It's Hollie's Hotspurs back with another one. Chatting all things Tottenham, we're second to none. Special guests every time, if it's win, lose or draw. The passion is high like Harry Kane when he scores. Or when Lloris makes a world-class save. We got Højbjerg running the mid every game. Settle down, stick around, share your thoughts with the panel. And make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Coys.
Hello and welcome to another Hollie's Hotspurs live. Again, I think I've jinxed Harry Kane because I still haven't seen him bloody score with this bloody intro. But there we go. Nevertheless, like I said, tis the season to get 3 points because again, we have got 3 points. And with me tonight to discuss that game, I am joined by two amazing guests. First of all, Chris, how are you this morning? Chris Cowlin, how you doing?
I'm very well, Hollie. Thanks so much for having me back on and lovely to talk about a win.
Indeed, it is nice. I'm enjoying it at the moment and I hope it continues. And as well, we are joined by Cracknell himself. Crackers, how are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm very well, Hollie. I was just enjoying your intro and a bit of rap music. I was like, yeah, come on, my G and all that. Yeah, I'm down with the kids. I might be, 50-something years old, but yeah, I was enjoying that. It was a good
one,
good.
wasn't it?
I'm all good. Evening, everyone.
Evening, Cracknell. Like I say, yeah, thank you. I mean, there's a line in there about Harry Kane when he scores, and I'm yet to actually witness currently, but I'm sure we'll get onto that at some point. But nevertheless, 3 points against Norwich. I mean, I'm going to say it was a convincing win because to see 3 goals was lovely and a clean sheet. But the man I want to talk about first of all, Chris, as I come to you, is Lucas Moura. What a wonder strike that man produced the other day.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I completely agree with Antonio Conte's comments. We need more goals like this from him. He's got so much ability. And when I think about Lucas Moura in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt, I think about 3 moments. Obviously, the Ajax one, we all remember that moment where we were, who we were with, etc. The hat-trick in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Huddersfield. And, of course, yesterday, that goal against Norwich. It was top bins. Absolutely world class. I think that's probably one of the best goals, if not the best goal that we have seen at our brand new home. Unbelievable. But he does need to contribute more. But it just goes to show what Antonio Conte is doing because he is getting a lot more out of a lot of these players. And it's nice to see shots on target as well because a number of the players that you don't really see shooting are starting to shoot. The confidence is back, the smiles are back, the positivity is back, the fans are singing in the stadium, and to see Lucas Moura score a goal like that, unbelievable.
It was incredible, and I think as well as the build-up play, because obviously Cracknell, like Chris has alluded to, we don't see him score many goals, and to be able to score one like that was phenomenal, wasn't it?
Yeah, very, very much so. Lucas reminds me of Evening Kids, by the way. Ricky Villa, hello, remember him? He really is. He's like a modern day Ricky Villa, where you just see nothing for 5, 6, 7 games, and then all of a sudden you just get these moments of absolute madness and genius from him. So if you can bottle that 1 in 7, take that 20% of his game where he does that and turn that even into 60-70% and try and get him every other game where he's performing like that, you've really got a player on your hands. And the thing with Lucas, like I've said before on other shows, is he's so difficult to defend because because Lucas doesn't know what Lucas is going to do. So as a defender, you've got no chance, but he's just got that crazy touch to him. He's just, or that shot. And then he gives you that. I think he's one for the ages that's going to be a real cult hero down the line. But, if Antonio can get him and just get him to dial that up a little bit more and do that, as I say, every other game, then we've got a really good player on our hands.
It is interesting you said it as well, because I know a lot of people that do get frustrated by Lucas Moura, and I think we do have tendencies of doing that because he does like to run into a player or not be able to pass the ball soon enough. When you think to yourself, mate, you could have passed that about 10 minutes ago and we would have been further than you driving around in circles. But Chris, there was also talk about him possibly leaving soon. Do you think maybe this performance, I know it's against Norwich, but you can only play who's in front of you. Do you think maybe him scoring that goal will potentially maybe keep his place at Tottenham, or do you think it's far too soon to say that?
I think it's far too soon to talk about any players leaving at the moment, because I think Antonio Conte is really assessing this squad. He's looking at every single player in detail. I think a lot of the fans have even given a lot of the players a clean slate since Antonio Conte has taken charge. And to see he's trying to get this little bit more out of every single player, demanding more out of every single player, I think is absolutely fantastic. It's about who is now going to react the best to that. Now, I know I'm going a little bit off topic here. Now, where I sit in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the players, the substitutes warm up right in front of me. And I don't know whether you saw it, Crackers. I put it in the Last Word on Spurs group, a video of Tanguy Ndombele warming up. And he was literally just walking along the sidelines, not warming up at all. And you just think, if that is your reaction to a brand new manager coming in, someone like Antonio Conte, a serial winner, when you have got now players like Ben Davies playing out of his skin, you've got every single player, giving their absolute all, and then you've got players like that. So it's very interesting to see players' reactions, different players, how they're going to react to this manager. Are they going to be all in and, do everything for this manager or not? Lucas Moura, he is very, very hard working. And even when Lucas Moura has been on the sub bench in the past, he has never, ever sulked. You've never, ever seen him sulk one bit. He reacts very, very well. And when he's scoring goals like that, I don't see Antonio Conte wanting to get rid of him whatsoever. I just think he's assessing the squad so much at the moment. Of course, the January transfer window is around the corner. I know we can't always get the players that we want in the January transfer window, so it'd be interesting to see what happens in the summer transfer window, and then we will really see how this club is backing the manager. But it'd be interesting because every player at the moment, including Lucas Moura, as you said, everyone is playing for their future. Everyone is playing, for Antonio Conte. So it'll be very interesting times ahead.
And I think what you've just said there is great, Chris. Like you said, it probably is too soon to decide Lucas Moura's future. But like you said, when he's been on the bench, he's come on, he's made an impact. And I feel at Tottenham, we haven't had a time where we've been a player that's actually given some impact. We've had players on the bench that we don't really think have been doing as much when they come off on the bench. But I think for me, I don't know whether you agree as well, Richard, the fact that I think Lucas Moura has been like a burning bright light at the moment. When we've seen other players not play so well, he's actually stepped up. And now we've seen him get that goal within a team that's actually gelling together again. I think it's quite nice to see.
Yeah, I think our players fall into a few different categories. I think you've got people like Lloris who are really rating his class, and I hope that he does stay. There's talk of him going. Sonny's a class player. Harry's a class player, just going through a bit of a barren spell at the moment. All players do. Shearer done it before Euro 96. It happens. Then you've got the players that I don't get angry with. People like Lucas and Winks even, because they do give as much as they can. When they come on, they're trying, they're training, they're putting a shift in training, but they may just not be good enough. And you can't ever, get on someone's back for not being good enough. I'm never going to be a presenter at Talk Sport. I just don't speak well enough. But I always give it a go when I come on and do any sort of show. But I know that my limitations. So you can't ever have a go at somebody like that. The people that my ire is really reserved for is people like Chris said, Ndombele. I mean, that warm-up yesterday, I've crept out of bed at 3 a.m, to visit the little boys' room and moved quicker than that in the dark, like feeling my way around the edge of the bed. It was just like, what are you doing? It's just, there's just nothing there. There's nothing inside of him driving him to be, a professional to himself, let alone whichever club he's playing for. And, I fear Dele's going the same way as well. There's, Ndombele and Dele have got skills and ability for days, and there they are, just absolutely throwing it up the wall at the moment. It's criminal. It is criminal. The amount of kids that get rejected, even when they've signed for a club and got youth contracts and things like that. Still, 99% of them go out the door, and you never ever see them again. They don't make a living out of football. So they're incredibly lucky players, incredibly gifted, and yet here they are doing what they're doing. But like Chris said, I think Antonio, he's been round the block more than enough, and he can see who's putting it in. He can see who isn't putting it in, and then out of those, he can see who is good enough and who isn't. So we just got to back him and give him time. So yeah, he'll be assessing everybody. He's the all-seeing eye, isn't he?
He is indeed. And actually, there's been a question in the chat, which is about obviously the Prem too, and with Harvey White. Could he work his way into the team, especially where we've had the inconsistencies of the likes of Ndombele and Dele, as we've already mentioned, and Gio in there? What do you reckon, Chris, on that kind of front?
With a lot of the Tottenham Hotspur under-23 players, it is a huge step up from the Tottenham Hotspur under-23s to the first team, Premier League football, or even the Europa Conference League. It is a huge step up. So I think that the best thing for a lot of these youngsters at the moment is doing what Tottenham are doing, is sending them out on loan, getting some really good league experience, to coming back. And then, of course, I'm sure that Antonio Conte will look at the youth system, and you know, these players will get their opportunities in the future. But at the moment, I just think that they are way off the standard of Premier League football.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I've always been one that wants to push the youth through, especially if they're performing at that level. But like you said, it is quite a massive jump. Hopefully, the likes of Harvey White will come through the ranks.
Do you know what though, Hollie? With watching Oliver Skipp, now I go over to Stevenage, you know, a fair bit to watch the Tottenham Hotspur under-23s when they play there. And Oliver Skipp, you know, he was playing for the under-23s when he was 16 years old. And I know we're going to probably talk about his performance. Unbelievable performance again in a Spurs shirt. But even at 16, 17 years old, when he was playing for our under-23s, when players, you know, who he was playing against, 20 years old, 21, 22, 23, he was a cut above the rest then. You just saw that there was real talent there. So I am not surprised one bit that Oliver Skipp is putting shifts in like he did yesterday.
I was going to say, you actually took the words out of my mouth, because I was going to talk about Skipp next. So it's actually really interesting, Chris, that you've managed to see him develop as a player. And like you've alluded to, he was exceptional yesterday, just the way that he managed to drive with the ball, because it's been a very long time I've seen a player in that midfield manage to drive with the player and pass the ball at the correct time, shall we say. So as well, Cracknell, how amazed were you at the way Skipp performed yesterday?
Yeah, he's coming up against the team he was on loan last season. So I think it may be somewhere in the back of his head, he's thinking to himself, I've got to really have a big game today, because if I don't, people will maybe turn around and go, oh, he's taking his foot off the gas a little bit out of a bit of love and respect for Norwich. So, but he was also allowed to play very well. I mean, Norwich aren't where they are for no reason. They're a bit cannon fodder in this league. So there'll be bigger tests to come for Oliver Skipp. But so far at his age, wow, it's so good. But let's be careful of building up young players a little bit too much, because when they do come up against, you know, midfields with the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool, you may see them, you know, just being outwitted a little bit by those players, a little bit older, a little bit wiser. So, but you can only sort of see where he is at the moment and say, yeah, so far so good. And if he carries on developing at the same trajectory, as Chris said, when he was a youngster, he looked a cut above. He's come in now and he's held his own very well. And you know, at that age, he's going to have one or two games where you go, won't Skipp's day today, but you have to allow that. You have to give that and make an allowance. It's one of those things, you know, if it doesn't quite happen when we play a Chelsea or a Man City or something, you can't go, oh, look, that's it. That's the end of him. He's all done. You know, he's not turned out as good as we thought he would. It's you have to, it's marathons and not sprints, isn't it?
Do you know what though? One thing about him, like you said, Hollie, about him surging forward, it was so good to see that part of his game surging forward, because players like him, players like Harry Winks, they often get criticised for just passing the ball sideways to one of the more creative players. And when we've got the lack of creativity in midfield, you know, i.e. him and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, it's nice to see he had the first shot on target in the game yesterday in the 5th minute. And of course, he was surging forward and you know, making those forward runs, which was different. The Antonio Conte effect again.
Indeed, it is.
With Skipp, I always called Højbjerg the dustman. That's what I've nicknamed.
I know,
him. He goes out there and he cleans all the crap up, doesn't he? He just picks the crap up, does that. I think Skipp could be our recycling man. who's just that little bit cleaner and that little bit sort of just above a dustman. No disrespect to dustman, they do a fine job. But you see where I'm coming from. He does that little bit of a cleaner role. And so I think he's our recycler. We just need to replace like an Ericsson, really, or hope that Mora becomes a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for, consistent. That's it.
Consistent.
And then he becomes our creative like front in that midfield. So but no, Højbjerg and Skip together make a fine refuse team, that's for sure. Any council would be very proud of them to take their bin lorries out.
Can I just say as well, Hollie, that the FA Cup third round draw has just taken place and we've got Morecambe at home.
Oh, nice. I like that one.
It's all right, we'll take that, won't we?
Yeah,
Morecambe away would be better. It's a nice seaside town up north, isn't it? Chris, you've not got so far to drive this time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's good. That's good news. That's good news.
Good stuff.
Oh dear. Like, that's decent. And like you said, obviously going back to this, because it's interesting you mentioned Højbjerg, because I know Twitter's probably not the best wealth of information, but lots of people weren't too pleased with Højbjerg yesterday. But like you said, his work kind of goes unnoticed, I think. And I'm kind of sat here thinking, does that dynamic work? But I think the way Crackers is basically explained it all kind of does make sense. You've got Skippy that's now that player that's trying to progress the ball forward, and Højbjerg's the man who just clears everything up, really, isn't it? And I think when you put it like that, actually makes a lot more sense, I think. So no, I'm happy with the Højbjerg and Skip dynamic. Like you said, I don't know whether that will progress into something come the later games, come the harder games, we might have to switch things up. But at the moment, I think it's working. And while we're sticking on the kind of Conte doing the business, I think we do need to talk about Davies, because Chris, he is like a new man under Conte, and I never ever thought I'd say that about Davies.
Well, the thing is, Antonio Conte has been there for what? A month, 4 weeks. And 2 of those weeks, half of the players were off on international duty as well. So he's had hardly any time there to transform this squad, to transform players like Ben Davies. And I know I saw online someone's photoshopped him holding a Ballon d'Or, which really made me laugh. I thought, is it really going to be that good? But no, to see what Antonio Conte has done in this short time, I think it is really, really exciting times ahead for us, because I know a lot of people, a lot of Spurs fans and a lot of just general football fans are saying, yeah, but you've only played, Leeds, you've only played, Brentford and Norwich, don't get carried away. But from where we've been, from how low we were, all of the fans now are united. All of the fans are seeing this vision. All of the fans are getting behind Antonio Conte. The fans are singing his name. To get fully behind this manager, we know that we've got a serial winner. And, when he can transform the likes of Ben Davies, who, I believe that Ben Davies will be one of the real winners under Conte, because he's played virtually every game, if not every game, under him so far. I know not in the Europa Conference League, but in the Premier League. He's one of the starting 11 now for Spurs, and he's fitted in very, very well. I think that there will be a number of winners that us fans will probably be surprised about. On a lot of our lists, if we created a list a couple of months ago and said we'd like these players to leave in the January transfer window, or indeed the summer transfer window, Ben Davies would have probably been on most people's lists. Not now. And Antonio Conte will trust a lot of these players as well. So interesting times ahead. But yeah, Ben Davies, absolutely brilliant. Really pleased for him.
It is insane. Like you said, to think we probably would have, even a few weeks ago, have said Ben Davies has got to go in January, to now see him performing like this is incredible. And I think even for the Sonny goal, Crackers, I think he managed to be a part of that. And I'm thinking to myself, that boy's going to get head rush, because I think at one part he was actually in their box trying to set up the play with Skippy, and with Sonny actually getting the final touch to the goal. So it's a bit of a madness. He's actually finding himself in these kind of positions now.
Yeah, I think he's playing a game that actually suits him, and he's with a manager that he clearly likes and likes working under. You can't disregard the turmoil that had been around the club with Mourinho, and then with Nuno. I mean, it was chaos. The whole thing was just chaos. You sort of hear these stories that Mourinho, when he was there was rows galore amongst all the coaching staff and problems with them. Then Nuno came in and didn't really sort of speak to anybody. But any workplace, you just take your guidance from your bosses, and if there's a clear vision that's set out and somebody that you can believe in and somebody you want to play for as well, then you can become a better player. And I think he's just, he's probably made Davies feel 10 foot tall. You're my boy. You can go and do this for me. Get out there, do this job and show me that you're worth this place. And that's exactly what he's done. And as I said, he grew in confidence during the game and found himself with a nosebleed way up the pitch towards the end, didn't he? It's we've still got a little bit of caution, because yesterday Norwich did get a few chances and there was a few defensive lapses. So there's definitely been big progression on the getting forward front. It couldn't be any worse, could it, than what we were seeing under Nuno? If we got over the halfway line, everyone was cheering. But there's still some issues at the back that need to be resolved. With losing Romero was a big loss. You can see he's a Rolls Royce of a defender, and to lose him's been bad. But alongside Davies, Dyer and Sanchez have sort of kicked on and picked up a bit, but there's still just that little something in defence there when Norwich get 3-4 big chances like yesterday. Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man U will all punish you, absolutely punish you, where Norwich may not have that quality. So, still a bit of work to be done there. But on Ben Davies, I think he's gone a little bit up from his 6-7 out of 10 at the moment. He might be on maybe a 7.5, nudging towards an 8 at the moment. So keep going, Ben, keep going.
Do you know as well, on Ben Davies, he's had more shots for Spurs under Antonio Conte's 4 Premier League games than the whole entire last season. So he's got those players, confident again, shooting again. And when you think back, at the start of the season and those last few games under Nuno, not even to have a shot on target for all of those minutes. And now, as I say, we're getting shots on target, and shots from all over the pitch at the moment. So it's great to see.
I was going to say, after having to rely on, I know we'll probably get onto him, having to rely on the likes of Harry Kane and Sonny to actually see other players getting amongst it now is actually quite refreshing, and it makes you a bit more relaxed to the fact we don't have to solely rely on those players. But I'm really pleased, Cracknell, that you've mentioned, obviously, the defence, because with the likes of Dyer and obviously Sanchez and Davies, there are still a lot of problems going on. Because like you said, there was a lot of possession for Norwich, and they probably would have been able to put the ball in the back of our net if they were a bit more clinical. So I'll stick with you, Cracknell. Going forward, do you think maybe, not necessarily January, but maybe this summer, do you think there needs to be a mix? Or do you think now that Conte has got Dyer, and to me, I feel like he's really turning into a defender for once rather than a central defensive mid, because that's predominantly what he was before. Do you think he can finally get some consistency playing as this role as a centre-back? Or do you feel like time will only tell until he falters again?
Yeah, you always do feel like he does have that rick in him, that mistake, don't you? And I mean, that was the same with Kyle Walker. He'd have like 6-7 great games, and then all of a sudden, wallop, there'd just be that one big mistake. So I don't know. Maybe I don't think Eric ever quite found his place, to be honest. I think previous managers used him in a variety of roles, and he never really got somewhere that he liked and stuck with it and applied himself to it. But you know what? Mourinho, Nuno and Antonio have all given him a chance and all played him. So he just seems to be one of those players that managers like, that go out there and give them something that they want and just overlook that occasional mistake. So I suppose this is why these people are football managers and we're not, because maybe they see something we don't. But I'm yet to be totally convinced by him. He has improved, so you have to give him that. There has been an improvement with him, but you are always just making that sort of face, like when he's maybe one-on-one and you think to yourself, oh, here it comes. But no, so far so good. He's another one of those ones that sits on the knife edge, isn't it, of whether he stays or whether he goes. I suppose it's how much he improves. It's how much the wallet opens from upstairs if there's an upgrade in the offing. But yeah, let's let's see with him. Jury's still out for him and one or two others.
At the moment. And that's the thing, is it, Chris? Because I'm, like Cracker said, I'm still on a knife edge watching him every week. And I think it's the same with Sanchez as well. I know Sanchez got his goal yesterday, and the celebration was one that was like, yeah, look, I am here. I can do a job. And I don't know how I feel about Sanchez. I don't like ratting people out. I don't like ratting players out. But I sadly feel he is probably going to be second string at the moment, especially when Romero comes back.
Well, you know, the Mura game, Europa Conference League, when Sanchez got turned for both of those goals, you know, some of us would have probably thought that, you know, we wouldn't see him in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt again. And then, of course, the Burnley postponed game, he was in the starting 11. Obviously, the game didn't go ahead, and then he's played the last few. Like I said earlier, it's about the players taking these opportunities now. When Premier League football comes up for some of the fringe players like Sanchez, who hasn't played a lot in the last year or so in the first team in the Premier League, it's about taking opportunities. And you know, when you talk about Eric Dyer, it's funny how every single manager, you know, going from Pochettino, Mourinho, Nuno, and now Conte, they all absolutely love Eric Dyer. They see him as a leader. And, you know, when I talk about Antonio Conte as well, since Conte has been in charge at Spurs, you know, even places like Twitter have been a nice place. You know, not seeing people slagging off Eric Dyer, Sanchez, Harry Winks, Davies. You know, it's just so different. You know, the whole fan base just seems to be united at the moment. And we all seem to be going in this direction and seeing the positivity and seeing the signs of what Antonio Conte is trying to do. Now, when he has transformed this club at the moment, like in these 4 weeks that he's been in charge, think about when he actually gets the players in that he wants. Think about when he's actually had a pre-season with some of these players. I'm really excited. I can't be any more excited, you know, about Antonio Conte coming, because, you know, I talk about trophies a lot on my channel, you know, the lack of trophies. You know, the FA Cup draw has been taking place tonight. Over 30 years since we last won the FA Cup, it's just ridiculous stats. And if Antonio Conte can't deliver success at Spurs when you know he's given this opportunity, I don't know who will.
I was going to say, if that doesn't happen, I don't know who we turn to next. I mean, that's a sad thought. But like you said, it should be our time. It will be our time. I just bloody hope so. But I would be the first person to call Eric Dyer an egg. But I think at the moment, like you said, he is actually doing his thing, and I can't really fault him for it.
We've got to trust. We've got to trust the manager. I know, right. You know, myself, you know, I watch Spurs all the time, home and away, and you know, we've seen mistakes, we've seen issues with certain players, but with someone like Antonio Conte, I think that all of us have just got to trust our manager. You know, when we've seen what he's done with someone like Ben Davies, and a comment come up on the screen earlier from Kev saying, you know, it's simple, really, isn't it? You play players in their best position, you might actually get a tune out of these players as well. You take away the tomato sauce and the mayo, you might get a tune out of these players. You see, it's all working.
It is. It's the magic in the madness, and I bloody love it. It's good stuff. And like you said, I mean, we're all about players having their chances. And I think one player that really needed to up his game was Sessegnon, because obviously when he came on for, I can't remember who was injured now. My brain's gone. But when Sessegnon, Reguilon, that's it. When Sessegnon came on, you're like, you need to do a job, because last time we saw Sessegnon in a shirt, it didn't end very well, did it, Cracknell? So I think for Sessegnon to come on, I didn't think he didn't play that badly. I think he actually did. I mean, he managed to stay on the pitch, so that's a win in itself. But in that kind of thought, what were your thoughts on Sessegnon? Do you think he's one that will hopefully stay here and carry on? Or do you think maybe his days are numbered again? Or am I being too negative as per usual?
Like we said before, Antonio's been there 5 minutes. So everybody gets a clean sheet. Everybody gets a go at it. And see how he progresses. He wasn't used, was he, Sessegnon? He sort of went out on loan, and then this happened, and then he came back, and he got talked up like royally, didn't they? Oh, you know, he's back, and he'll do, and then gets sent off. So it may just be that, you know, he's got a little bit too pumped up by all that, a bit of exuberance of youth. So you know, players need a few games, and they need a bit of guidance, and they need that what goes on at the training ground, and managers speaking to them, and management teams speaking to them, and you know, everything that goes on. The games really aren't that big a part of football. They are for us, but they're like maybe 10% of a player's working week. The most important part of the week, don't get me wrong, but It's what goes on that other 90% at training and the way that a player's made to feel in amongst a group and with a manager, and all of that feeds into a performance in a game. So yeah, let's see just how much Antonio can pour into him and change him and develop him. You know, and what we now, Chris, 6-7 games into Antonio's reign. So you know, I'm hoping everyone says, "Oh, 18 months and he's out the door." I'm hoping it's longer, because he's obviously he's too good for us where we are at the moment, as from a football. Like the football side of things, forget the infrastructure and everything. That's world class, but the football isn't. So we've now got a world class manager there. So give him 2 seasons. If we could get him for 3 or 4 seasons, would just be brilliant. Because, like Chris said, how much we can develop the current players, bring in some new players, and then see where we are at the end of that. So it's early days for people like Sessegnon, and yeah, look, if he comes good, then happy days, isn't it? We want any player to do it, even Winks. I'd love to see Winksy come in and tear it up and be the player that we thought he could be, and you know, shut everybody up on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else. I'd love nothing more than to have like words shoved back down my throat by players. Dele and Dembele, if they're all tearing it up, that's brilliant for us. That's all we want to see, you know. So let's see where he goes.
It will be interesting to see. Like you say, you never want a player to do badly, and like you said, you want new players to reborn. And hopefully that Sessegnon has come back, he will manage to perform himself. I don't know whether, Chris, you had anything to add on Sessegnon. Is it just the same thing that maybe I'm just preempting something, or I'm too early in my thinking?
He's had so many issues with injuries. I actually feel sorry for Sessegnon, but now is the time. Conte has come in. You know, that Mura game was really, really disappointing for him. I felt so sorry for him. You know, it was 2 rash challenges, 2 yellow cards. Can't argue that at all. Obviously, then got sent off. But it's now. His time is now. If it's not going to work now, even he come out himself and said it's now or never. You know, he's been at the club for a couple of years, spent time on loan at Hoffenheim last season. You know, done fairly well there. It's about time, because I remember, you know, for ages, for months and months, all of the Spurs fans were saying, sign Sessegnon from Fulham, sign Sessegnon from Fulham. You know, so raved about so much. And then, of course, it's been really, really disappointing. So his time has got to be now, you know, knuckle down. And even Conte come out and said in recent weeks, you know, it's about getting regular game time, which he hasn't had at Spurs. So if he can get regular game time now, of course, we've got the game on Thursday. Hopefully he will feature in that. Sorry, he won't feature in that. He's suspended. But you know, future games this season, it's about regular game time. So if Conte can get him playing, because we've got games coming thick and fast. So the likes of Reguilon cannot play in every single game. So Sessegnon will definitely get his chance.
Yeah, and that's like you said, it's his time to step up, and there's no better time than now. So fingers crossed he does manage to do that in a kind of sense. I mean, there's a rumour going around on Twitter. I mean, Cody said it, that apparently there's 6 players and 2 coaches that have tested positive. Now, I think I saw it, and it was an In the Know page. And I think it was like, you know, they do their stupid tiers. I think it was like a ridiculous one. So I'm not going to read too much into it. But I know there's loads of people that keep asking it in the chat. I don't know whether Chris or Crackers, you have any kind of word or suspicion on it or whatever. But apparently that's what's going on.
I've heard similar, but no confirmations. But like I say all the time, whoever Antonio Conte names in the starting 11, they've got a job to do. Do your job. You know, get on with it. You're playing for your future. You're playing for the club. You're playing for us fans. You know, give 100%. And I think the attitude, the mentality has to change under someone like Conte, because he will not allow someone just to be strolling in the park. He will not allow someone like Tongon Ndombele to be down at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium just walking, you know, not giving a proper warm-up. He will sort these problems out one by one. There are so many issues. If we didn't have issues, we wouldn't have Conte in the first place. So there's so many issues. He's got to address them one by one. He's working through. And as he said, you know, he's not a magician. He's only been there for, what, 4 or 5 weeks, but he's done a pretty good job so far.
And what's the word? I echo that as well, Chris, because like you said, it's been nice to actually not be so doomy gloomy about things. It's actually nice to see us putting in good performance, because I actually really enjoyed that game against Norwich, and it's been a long time since I have enjoyed watching Spurs. And again, just from a personal point of view, it was just nice and refreshing. But obviously, there's one player that I don't like talking about lots because we talk about him all the time, but that is Harry Kane. I'm sure his time will come because, like we said, he's managed to turn players around like Davies. And I think there is a lot going on in Harry Kane's head at the moment. But Cracknell, I'll come to you first. Do you think Harry Kane is just a bit under the weather at the moment? Because he just looked a bit lethargic and not with it, I thought, at the weekend. He just tried a bit too hard.
I just don't think much is coming off for him at the moment. He looks like he's trying. To me, it doesn't. I think he's got himself over the Man City issues and the leaving issues. Who, like, I'll say again, Man City never offered enough money for him. So it's as simple as that. If Jack Grealish is £100 million, then Kane's 150. It's as simple as that, or, or at least 130. They've come in with 75 million quid and some add-ons and a bag of balls and a trip to Dubai or wherever their owners are from, and it's just not enough. So, really, Daniel Levy needs to turn around and say to Harry, the offer wasn't there. We rate you at this price, and that offer never comes. So, knuckle down and get on with it. And I think he is now, and I think he's just going through a small period at the moment where just nothing is coming off for him. And I think people are, putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 8 with him. He'll get one and then he's off again. He'll be away. It's form temporary, class permanent, isn't it? So, but he looks like he is putting it in. For me, he got over that. There's a few players from that Euro squad that have really suffered at the start of this season, to be honest. A bit of a hangover. It was a massive disappointment losing that final. A few of them have spoke about how they've struggled to get back into the rhythm of this season after that Euros. It's probably a bit of tiredness as well from the Euros. He doesn't get much, hadn't have much of a break, really. So, I think there's a lot of conjecture about Harry, but it's just nonsense, really, and just filling column inches, to be honest. So, but I don't know, maybe like Chris said, it's good that we do have some players chipping in from other areas of the pitch and nicking you a few goals. If Sonny gets 2, and Davies and Sanchez pops up and gets one, or Ben Davies pops up and get one, Eric Dyer, wherever they come from, Lucas Moura, that's teams that win stuff, that get those defenders and midfielders nicking you 12, 15 goals a season. They nick you that winner in the 88th minute from a corner, which we don't normally do. But if you do get one from a corner, if you start getting people like Eric Dyer popping up in a 1-1 away game on 88 minutes and nicking you those 3 points, they're the 3 points that make the difference, or get you through a 6th round of a cup tie or something. So maybe it's a bit of a blessing in disguise he's gone off the ball, and others can step up a bit.
I mean, it is interesting to put a flip on it, because like you said, we need other players to step up, and now they've stepped up, but Harry Kane seems to be off the ball. It's very interesting. But Chris, do you think this is just, like Crackers said, it's just a bit of a phase? Until he gets that one, the ground will be flying again.
Absolutely. You know that all strikers go through these phases, and yes, he had chances. Yes, you'd have probably put your mortgage on him scoring one of those chances yesterday. But Crackers is right. Once the first goal goes in, the rest will follow. I've absolutely no doubt about Harry Kane. He's absolutely class and world-class striker, and his time will come. And as I say, the games are coming thick and fast. He's going to get opportunities. But when we're scoring 3 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Norwich, and we're winning games and keeping clean sheets, personally, I don't care who scores the goals. Harry Kane, is pleasing Antonio Conte with his performances. Antonio Conte knows what Harry Kane can do. He's a real team player. He's not just about scoring goals. He's setting up. Look at the game against Brentford. That pass for Reguilon, then cross to Son. He's part of a great team move that is producing a goal. So personally, I'm not concerned about Harry Kane, because you just know the goals are coming.
But you know what, Hollie? Even if Harry wasn't playing because he doesn't much fancy it at Tottenham anymore, Antonio would be absolutely ruthless and go, okay, fair enough, off you go, see you later. I'll find another way of playing without you, and he'd probably just put Sonny up front, or, you know, just jig the system a bit. And if it did come to that, this is just a hypothetical, all of us would have to go, right, you got to back Antonio here. You know, if he's dropped Kane because he doesn't fancy it, any player. Ferguson done it. You want to make omelettes, you break eggs. It's as simple as that. And it doesn't matter how big the egg is, you have to break it. So, you know, if it comes to a point where it's like, well, Harry starts making noises to go, then see you later. I've seen, I love Harry. He's a great player, but I've seen better than him come and go. You know, I was there when I saw Glenn Hoddle leave, like, and go to Monaco, and players like that. It hurts, but you know, you do have to back your manager on it, and you have to have people, or everybody, giving 100%.
With all these games though coming thick and fast, you know, I would certainly expect Harry Kane to drop out at some point during this month. You know, one of these games that we play, and you watch the media jump on it saying that Antonio Conte is dropping Harry Kane because he's not scoring goals. I don't think it's going to be like that at all. He's rotating the squad because he's going to have to use the squad very, very wisely because the amount of games that we're playing, and of course we do not want injuries to our best players like that.
No, 100%, and that's the thing. I think, like you said, we've got to back Conte. He knows what he's doing. He's done it many times before, and I think rotation is really key at the moment, especially with Harry Kane and his injuries as well. You're thinking to yourself, you need to rotate this, and especially with these games coming up. So it is interesting. Now, I'm not old enough to be able to relive the Teddy Sheringham days, but if anybody of you two want to maybe have a go on, Cracknell, I'll let you have a little whiz at this.
I am
one of my favourites.
Have a little whiz at Kev's little question there.
Oh, but is Harry morphing into the Teddy Sheringham role? Oh, wow. No, they're totally different sorts of players, aren't they? Harry's not a Teddy, and Teddy wasn't a Harry. But, you know, we saw Harry dropping a little bit deeper and playing it in that role. And he does it very well. I mean, he's probably one of our best passers of the ball as well. So even if you did drop him back there, he'd still do a great job for you. He's a talented footballer, but listen, he's an out-and-out striker. He's just having a little barren spell. Keep him doing what he's doing. Stick with him. Give him the rest he needs as well, like Chris said, you know, because he is a little bit biscuit ankles, isn't he? But a lot of that comes from him just being all in when he plays a game. He doesn't like coming off. He likes playing every game. Gives you everything, but that has to come with a certain amount of rest. So no, just let Harry carry on being Harry, and he'll find it again. It will come.
Just give Harry Kane like a Klinsmann player like Teddy Sheringham had. I tell you that partnership. I tell you that 94-95 season remains probably one of my favourite seasons ever of watching Spurs. You know, the way that Klinsmann and Sheringham linked up, incredible.
Oh, I wasn't born. I weren't born till 97, so I missed all the good days. You know, I've only seen one bloody cup. And the
Blimey, Hollie, I've got shoes older than you.
Oh wow. Yeah, I wasn't born till 97. There we go. So I've missed all the good stuff, you know. So hopefully the good stuff is coming under Conte. But I just want to quickly touch on, because last time I didn't touch on the conference game coming up. We lost. So this time we're going to touch on the conference game so I don't jinx it. So Chris, what do you reckon is going to happen on Thursday? This is if I've done my homework right, and it is Thursday.
Well, Antonio Conte is a manager that, you know, even a friendly isn't a friendly. He wants to win every single game. He's always demanding 110% in every single game. This Thursday's game against Rennes will be absolutely no different. They are a quality side. I went over there for the group stage game over in France, a 25-hour round trip to go there. And, you know, they're sitting second behind PSG in the French league. So, you know, they are no mugs, as they say, and, you know, a very, very good team. I am hoping that we do go through to the playoff game. You know, I'm a big talker of trophies because, you know, trophies are way overdue at this football club. I know a lot of Spurs fans don't particularly like this competition, but I'm a real believer if you are in the competition, take it seriously as you can. If we can get some transfers in January as well, we can take it a little bit more seriously and go strong in some of these games. But Antonio Conte will want to win. He will definitely want to win. I think we're going to win the game 1-0.
Oh, I like it. I like that. And that's the thing. I think, like you said, he's a winner and he wants to win things. And unfortunately, being Spurs fans, we can't be picky and choosy what cups we win. So if it means we can win this cup, I'll grab your hand off. But Crackers, what's your kind of thought for Thursday? Do you think it's going to be a close game, like Chris has said, with a 1-0? Or do you think we could maybe do it a bit more convincingly, maybe?
No, I think it will be a tight game. They are a decent outfit, and you know, this should have been a game that was a bit of a dead rubber, to be honest. We should have been home and hosed already, and now we've got to do it. So I don't know. I just get the feeling that the players don't much fancy this cup. Like, you know, there's quite a lot of fans that don't either, and you know, calling it all sorts of names. But I think Chris is right. Cup's a cup. For me, we won the inaugural UEFA Cup, and it'd be good to win this one as well, to be honest. Beautiful trophy, by the way. Absolutely stunning trophy. So I'd love to see it in the cabinet. And where we are as a football side at the moment, it's not beneath us at all to be in this. That's where we finished in the league. So that's who we're playing. I just get the feeling that some of the players are not much fancying it. But you know, we should be playing a second string, really, in all of these games so far. Maybe not with Rennes. They probably deserve a little bit more of a first team outing. But you'd like to think that those players that are just bubbling on the fringes of a starting 11 would go out there and go, right, I'll give you something to think about, Antonio, and I'll go out there and I'll do this. And then, you know, whoever's in front of me, you'll be going, do I play him? Because, you know, whoever it is behind him tore it up on Thursday night in a city where Ryanair don't even fly to. So, you know, that's what you'd like to see and hope to see. So I think it's tight on Thursday, but doable. We are good enough to beat them. So let's squeeze ourselves through, dust ourselves down, and then, you know, take the rest of the competition a little bit more seriously. We've got Conference League, League Cup, FA Cup. The league's beyond us at the moment. You know, that's just not happening. So we've literally got, you know, 3 things to sort of aim at here. So this is 30%, 33% of our success this season rides in this. And I think it deserves that sort of respect, to be honest. So get to the final and then say this doesn't matter, or this is like a 2-bob cup or something. Because I tell you what, come that final, everybody's going to want to win it. And it's doable. It's more than doable to get to it. Everybody else in that is no better than us. There's some teams near us, but most of them, we should be easily beaten, hands down. So I really want to see us go for it Thursday night and progress.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Hollie, you need to ask him if the trophies are coming.
Are the trophies coming?
Trophies are coming. Copyright Chris Cowlin.
Oh, I love it. Oh dear, no, that was a good one. Like I said, that I don't care what cup it is, as long as it's not the Audi Cup. I'm not fussed, as long as it's one that looks nice in the trophy cabinet, and we can actually say, okay, it is worth something, because it is worth something, and we can't be choosers of what we win at the moment. But it's the good way you put it, Crackers. It's 33%. So let's put 33% of our effort in.
The problem you get is if we get to the closing stages of it and we're somewhere near the top 4 and we have a big game at the weekend, you know, to sort of really get us into that top 4 by a couple of points, or we go for it in a semi-final or something of this cup. That's what worries me, because I think, you know, the cheeses upstairs will turn around and go, well, if we make top 4, that's probably worth 1,000 times more to us and our balance sheet than making the final and winning it, you know. So I'm interested in trophies in the cabinet. They're interested in money in the bank, but that's not, you know, specific to Spurs. That's every club in the Premier League. So let's see what happens when he gets to the business end of this.
The interesting thing, though, will be, does he give some of these players another opportunity? Because he gave 9 players, in my opinion, opportunity against Mura away, and not one of those 9 players took that opportunity. So will he go, you know, like that again on Thursday, or will he go strong like he did in his first game as Tottenham boss against Vitesse Arnhem that we won 3-2, I think he will go relatively strong because he will want to win this game. And, you know, no matter what the fans want, no matter what the board want, I think Antonio Conte is always thinking about what he wants. And, you know, he wants to win every single game. There's no game. Like I say, even if it was a friendly, he's not going to just say, oh, we're not going to really worry about this competition. He's not going to be picky and choosy. He wants everything. He demands the absolute best, 100% all the time.
And I think that's something you've really especially lapsed on. I think the fact that we've seen players not playing for the shirt, we've seen players not working hard, but now Conte demands that, and some players are really showing that they mean to work well under Conte, and others are just like the likes of Tanguy, like the likes of Davies, don't really seem that half-assed. So they're the ones, and he probably has his books marked on who he wants out and who he wants to stay because of this effort level. So yeah, it is really interesting that you both say that we're going to go gun-ho against Rennes, and I think we will. And like you said, it might be interesting because we're at home that maybe he will play. So he might even play Harry Kane. Who knows? He might play Harry Kane to give him a bit of confidence to find the back of the net. It'd be very interesting. But obviously, we do have Brighton as well at the weekend. So we're going around the same sort of thing, just chatting briefly about what we think is going to happen here, there and that. So Chris, I'll come to you. With the Brighton, obviously with that Rennes game that would have hopefully been won, do you hope that we'll see the same consistent side as what we've been seeing in the Prem week in, week out at the moment?
It's got to be about consistency, and Antonio Conte will be drumming that word into these players' heads. That's for sure. You know, the mentality of winning, you know, constantly. What I love at the moment is that the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, we've won 4 out of 4 under Conte there, is now interesting about what we're going to do going forward. And then, of course, we've got Liverpool in a few weeks as well. That's going to be the real test. But from what I've read and from what I believe, Brighton have got a number of first-team players out for the game on Sunday. So hoping that we can be consistent, hoping that we can get the 3 points again, and you know, it'll be happy days and another good weekend. But you know, just to talk about Conte again, I have never in my life seen such a passionate manager. You know, the fourth official, I think in every game that he's managed us so far, I think the fourth official just gives up on telling him, you know, stop running up and down, stop, you know, come back in your technical area. Because every time, like, I find myself when I'm watching a Spurs game now, I'm half watching the pitch, and then like half the time I'm watching Conte. You know, I know Spurs put these videos out after every game, Conte cam. It's like I'm looking down at him all the time to see what he's doing, and the passion and the energy from the guy is just simply incredible. And I just think that this is why I'm feeling so confident at the moment, because all of us fans in the stands, at home, wherever we're watching the games, we're constantly shouting, you know, about, you know, do this, do this, do this, you know, do this. And we now know that we've got someone representing us who is doing exactly that on the touchline in Conte. So this is why I'm so confident about, you know, going into every game. And it's funny, I feel like a little bit like I did under Pochettino. If we go a goal down, it doesn't really worry me, because I just feel like we're going to come back into it. I just feel like Conte is going to just turn games around like he did in that Leeds game. You know, that first half, the fans booed the players off. And then, of course, Conte, the conductor, now I call him, you know, getting that crowd going. Incredible.
He is, and like you said, he is the 12th man, on that pitch, because like you say, he puts an awful lot of. He's got loads. He must have his Fitbit on or his Apple Watch going at the same time. The amount of laps he's probably done going backwards and forwards is incredible. And it's like you've said, we've wanted this for a bloody long time, and we all know that Nuno is nicey, but. How boring.
But there's something constructive with it as well, isn't there, Hollie, Chris? You know, for all that passion running up and down, he's actually making decisions and he's changing things in the game, and he's, you know, giving instructions. If it was just running up and down, that'd just make him Barry Fry with a suntan, wouldn't it, to be honest? Because that's, I mean, he used to be up and down like that, but there wasn't that much else behind it, to be honest. But, you know, there's that passion, but there's a control there as well, because he is still putting instructions out and he's telling players what they need to do. It's just so animated, but it is lovely to see. It really is.
It is. That's the thing, because obviously with Nuno, it was just let's have our arms folded, and you're thinking to yourself, look, do something. I'm just sat there thinking I could probably do a better job. Do you know what I mean? It's just there was no enthusiasm, nothing going. Do you know what I mean? But now with Conte, like you say, there's enthusiasm and there's constructiveness as well, which we haven't had for a very long time. So, Cracknell, I'll come to you. What are your thoughts for Sunday, obviously, against Brighton? Do you think that'll be an easy game as well? Because we've already, like Chris has said, there's so many players out for Brighton as well. Or is that something we couldn't be too complacent about? We need to go in there still thinking that we need to turn up against these lots, because under, obviously, Potter, they're decent, aren't they?
Yeah, very, very much so. And you kind of think to yourself that players coming in and getting a chance may well come in and try and take their chance. So the other problem you get as well, if they have got 8 or 9 players out, it's difficult for teams to do their due diligence in an upcoming game, because if you've got a regular first 11, Brighton, you can have team meetings a couple of days before and go, right, okay, you're going to be playing up against him most likely. So your role will be this, and here's some weaknesses we've identified in his game. So get at that. You know, you can sort of see the patterns that they play. 8, 9 new players come in. It's very difficult for Spurs to do a due diligence on them. But then, you know, the flip side of that is there are 8 or 9 players that aren't getting into Brighton's first 11. So you should have the quality to be able to overcome that. So a bit of a double-edged sword. You've still got to be on your game. But look, we've got match winners in that team. You know, let's hope that these rumours about a COVID outbreak where our place is unfounded and we're able to put a full team out. If we do and we play to our abilities and our strengths, we win it. It's as simple as that. Turn up, do your job, and we win it. So, yeah, and I think we win it comfortably as well. You know, be off your game, you don't win it. And that's why the Premier League is the greatest league to watch in the world, because, you know, bottom can beat top, and it throws up some crazy results. So every game you have to be 1,000%. There's no strolling with your flip-flops on like out here in Spain or anything for half a season. You've actually got to be on your mettle in the Premier League. So, yeah, if we go at it and we play to the best of our ability, we win it.
I like the sound of that. And I think that's the thing, like you said, like Chris has said, he wants to win every game. So I have no doubt that he will put in a plan that will mean that we win against Brighton, because, hey, I'd love to see another corner goal, because I've seen 2 now and it's been magical, because it's been a long time bloody coming. So that was nice. But no, I want to say thank you, both of you, for joining me tonight. Like I said, it's an honour to have you both on this channel together. And I've really enjoyed tonight. I hope you guys have as well. So we'll go around and we'll say our goodbyes and where everybody can find you. So Chris, where can everybody find you doing your thing?
Thanks, Hollie. It's so nice to be on again and talk to crackers as well. I've got a YouTube channel called Tottenham Fan Chris Cowlin, and all social media just at Chris Cowlin.
Ah, thank you, Chris. It's been a pleasure. And also, I've called you Cracknell, I've called you Crackers, I've called you all the names under the sun. How are you, mate? And where can everybody find you?
So I'm at Mr. Cracknell, as you can see on the screen there, across the socials, most things on Instagram and Twitter and the Bookface and Mumsnet and MSN Messenger and MySpace page. I've got them all. I'm up with the kids. So, yeah, you can find me on now, or you can sometimes find me like flying back over to the UK and asking dumb questions to very smart ex-footballers on stage. So I'll put all the details up on my socials for upcoming shows and nights with Ledley King and Glenn Oddle and Chrissy Waddle and Clive and Paul Allen. So, yeah, plenty of nights. Even the likes of Ian Holloway and Matt Letizia, non-Spurs, get a bit of a look in as well from time to time. So someone's got a story to tell. I'll get it out of them on stage. So, yeah, so that's me.
I love it. What a way to lead out the show there, Cracknell. I love that. I'll talk to everyone, even Matt Letizia. Well, I must say, I've had a run with Matt Letizia a few times, and being Southampton way, as you can tell, unfortunately, I blame my parents for moving down there. But there we go.
Now, he's a top guy, you know. He's a very,
right.
very nice man. Yeah, I'll get on very, very well with Matt. He's a genuinely nice guy. So do you know what he got me a couple of tickets for the final of Harry's Heroes, you know, the ITV show.
Yeah.
And me and my son went along when it was at Orient, and he captained England that night, and I texted him to get the tickets because I thought there was at reception, and he came clacking out the dressing room in boots and his England kit with 2 tickets about 5 minutes before kickoff. I mean, he's that nice, you know, to say, there you go, here's your tickets, and then we went.
Yeah, he is nice. Bloke. He just wears red and white, and I don't like red and white, but there we go. Especially living around here, I just wind them up and say I support Portsmouth instead, and that's a good one. No, I want to say thank you both, and to everyone in the chat as well. I'm not very good at bringing people's comments up, but I do really appreciate them. I do see them. So if you are new, if you've joined, please make sure you like, share, do whatever you need to do. And make sure you please subscribe because we're getting closer to 2K. Slowly, but we're moving. But no, I want to say thank you to everyone again. And hopefully we can see a win against Rennes and a win against Brighton. But until next time, come on you Spurs.